Good morning, this is smartwatchspecifications.com, the premier site for smartwatch specs, news, and reviews. We are going to have a comparison of the the two smartwatches by number one, the number one G6 and the number one S9. So we have here one of the most popular affordable smartwatch by number one, the number one G6. And on our right side here is the newest smartwatch by number one, the number one S9. In terms of the design, they almost have the same look. Okay, so we'll check it out closely. Let's have a comparison of the number one G6 and the number one S9. Again, this is smartwatchspecifications.com, the premier site for smartwatch specs, news, and reviews. Okay, let's start. Okay, so we have here on our left side is the number one G6. We have here a stainless steel body, okay, and we have here the bezel with tick marks. And on our right side we have the number one S9 smartwatch. Okay, as you can see here, let's compare it and put it side by side. This is the number one G6, this is the number one S9. Based on the look, I love the number one S9 much better. In the number one G6, we have here a plain bezel with the tick marks. We have here the two buttons, physical buttons here, and a USB port for charging. For the number one S9, we have here the gear bezel design. It looks much better, especially if you're in personal. I love also the tick marks here. It looks elegant, looks classy. I love also the protruding buttons here. It looks like a regular watch. Okay, and we also have here the USB port for charging. Okay, based on my test, they have a much improved cover here for the USB port. This one, it is easily removable and it pops out sometimes accidentally, while for this one it is much more secure for the number one S9. Okay, the both smartwatch are available in silver and black color. Okay, so on the S9 we have a leather band here. There's also an available steel mesh strap for the number one S9. For the number one G6 we have the rubber strap, and there's also a leather band for the number one G6. Okay, let's check the back of the number one G6 as well as the number one S9. This is your number one S9. Okay, so what do you see here? For the number one S9, according to number one, it is using a second generation smart heart rate monitor. Okay, it is much better compared to the number one G6 HRM. The second generation heart rate monitor has a much more precise monitoring of your heart rate, and of course it is I think much better faster result. Okay, for the heart rate monitor. Both have a removable strap here, but of course you need a special tool to remove the strap here. Okay, as you can see here, it looks the same. Okay, for the size, the body of the number one G6, based on its specifications, it is much bigger, wider, compared to the number one S9. Okay, for the screen, based on the specifications, the number one S9 has a 1.3-inch screen, while for the number one G6 it has a 1.2-inch screen. But as you can see here, you can tell the difference. I think it's just a minor difference for the screen here, a minimal difference on the size. Both have an IPS LCD screen with a 240 by 240 pixel resolution. It is using a proprietary OS, and based on the display output, I think the number one S9 has a much brighter screen compared to the number one G6. They both have a MediaTek 2502 processor with a internal storage of 128 megabytes. Okay, they both using Bluetooth 4.0, but of course for the connectivity, the number one S9 has an NFC features, while the number one G6 it doesn't have an NFC feature. Okay, they both have a 380 mAh lithium polymer battery, but according to number one, the number one S9 has a much better standby time. It has a standby time of 3 to 4 days. I guess the operating system and the hardware for the number one S9 is much more optimized compared to the number one G6. Both are life waterproof. They both using reinforced mineral glass. Features includes music player, remote music, okay, or remote player for your music on your smartphone. Okay, it also has a pedometer, a gyro sensor, and other features. Let's check on the software of the G6 and the number one S9. Okay, so let's check it out. So we have here, as you can see here, it has a different layout for the S9 and the G6, but the features are still here. It is just arranged in different order. Both are in grid format. Okay, let's check. Okay, we have here the motion, the app, the theme. Okay, different icons for the alarm, as you can see here, different alarm, but I guess they still have the same software. Let's check. See, again, alarm, alarm. We still have the same, workings here. Okay, stopwatch. What else? Okay, we have the pedometer, the heart rate, the sleep, and the sedentary. Just different icons, but still the same app. Let's check for the pedometer if we have an improvement. It's still the same software, the same app. For the heart rate, as you can see here, just the same heart rate monitor. But of course, the hardware for this one, it is much better now for the number one S9 compared to the number one G6. What else? Okay, and I lost. We have here a watch face app, dedicated app. While for the number one G6, we don't have that. The dialer, SMS, contacts, call logs. Okay, that's it. So that is a short comparison of the number one G6 and the number one S9. So if you're going to ask me, if you're going to buy a new smartwatch, affordable circular smartwatch, go for the newest, the number one S9. It has an NFC support and a double standby time compared to the number one G6. In terms of the design, the number one S9 is much better. It looks professional, classy, and elegant compared to the number one G6. But of course, both are good smartwatch, and they are both affordable smartwatch. If you want a companion for your smartphone and you don't want to spend too much on a smartwatch, you can go either number one G6 or S9. Of course, the S9 is the latest smartwatch. Check it out in the number one website. They have the specifications for the number one S9. You can also check our website, smartwatchspecifications.com, for the reviews of the number one S9, an unboxing, and short review of the number one S9. You can also check the specs of this one. If you have any questions, if you have any comments regarding our review, or if you want to request something, just drop a comment below and we will get back to you as soon as possible if you have the time. Again, this is smartwatchspecifications.com, the premium site for smartwatch specs, news, and reviews. Bye.